James. Hi. I hope we have other people coming. Oh, yay. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Dennis. I look tired. You know, it's because I'm looking down on my screen. I have my laptop has an odd thing going on in one of the corners. So if my screen is not at the perfect angle, I have no screen. And I can't get it fixed because I can't be without it. Hi, Deborah. Okay, we need one or two more. Hi, Deborah.
Hello. Let's see. Here it is.
Hey. Have you all been inundated with purchasing wreaths and everything for the holidays? Hi, Tiana. Yay, we have a quorum.
Excellent.
Yes. I was just on a long distance phone call with another agent and I said, I gotta go. I have 2 minutes.
Kathy, this is Brian. There's somebody who is trying to join as an attendee named Diane.
Oh, cool.
Do you want me to promote her to a panelist or you want me to wait until we get to the public comment period?
Oh, I mean, I think she can come in as public comment. Can't we let her in early?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have her in as, I have no idea who she is, but if you could get her name and all of that. Hi, Stony. Great. I'll wait just a couple more seconds and then I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. So I should open my chat. Okay, now my chat is open so I can see things. So it is, I would like to call the meeting to order. Hi, Danny, welcome. For those of the public that I would like to announce the attendance by phone for cell phone users. Our numbers are 253-215-8782, 213-338-8477, 67831-0333. And for landline users, 888-475-4499 and 877-853-5257. Our webinar ID is 869-2489-9859. And our password is 574069. And I'd like to remind everyone to press *9 to raise your hand to be recognized for public comment, and *6 to mute yourself. I'd like to welcome everyone, and at this point, I would like to open our meeting with public comment. And Brianne has mentioned that we do have a guest whose name is Diane. And Diane, we can't see you, so I don't know if you are on the phone or where you are. Diane Stensland. Diane, would you like to make some public comment? And if so, if you could unmute yourself and also put yourself on the screen. Also, Danny and Stony, if you could turn your video on, that'd be great. Because Marty Rabine tells us we need to have our videos on. Oh. Hi, Stony. So Diane, would you like to make a public comment?
No, I'm just here to observe. I like seeing the art around the city, and I just like to observe your meeting. So I'm not here to say anything. I just like to observe.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for attending. And seriously, if you, at any point, if you do have something to say, we welcome your comment. We think it's great that we have some of the public attending our meetings. Very often we don't, but we have some exciting things going on. So appreciate your attending.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. That being said, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the October minutes? They were a lot of pages. I think you all probably, you can see that because we had both our presentation from the transportation division at the city, as well as the information about the proposed DASH project. So did anyone have any corrections? No. None being said, I'd welcome an motion to accept the minutes. Second. Somebody has to unmute themselves.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from October.
Thanks, Tony.
I'll second
A
that.
second?
Yes.
Perfect. We had a motion and second. Is there any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Oop, there's mine. Opposed? Great, the minutes are passed unanimously. Do we, our gentleman, Brianne, are they without art proposal? Did you get a confirmation that those guys were going to attend?
You know what? I just got an email from one of them, and I think that they think that the meeting is tomorrow. I emailed him back and let him know that it's happening right now. But I think that they got the days mixed up. So I'm not sure if they're going to be here.
Okay, well, maybe you and I can do a summary. So the LGBTQ community of Missoula in the past has collaborated with the Public Art Committee for World AIDS Day, which is December 1st. And in essentially what that means is in order to make their case that AIDS is still a concern in this world, the LGBTQ community has put together a day without art. And to that end, what they have done is wrap public artworks in communities around the world and around in the United States, et cetera. And in the past, they have wrapped Crossings, which is our sculpture that's on the north end of Higgins. The X's, as many people know them as, and they've wrapped them just for the day and then unwrapped them. The artworks have not been damaged in any way, shape, or form. And so Brianna and we had a conversation with the coordinators from the university, and they have requested again that they be able to wrap Crossings. They also wanted to wrap Returning, which is the Jeffrey Funk piece that is down by the river, and Cattin' Around, which is the Mike Holleran piece on Main Street, right in front of the parking structure. Brianne, did I miss one? It was those three, correct?
I think that that's correct, yes.
Yeah.
But Andy did just email and
Oh,
said that he would try to hop on right now, so he might
Okay.
be here in a sec.
okay. So hopefully Andy can hop on and he can give us some more detailed background than what I've been doing, but we have worked with them in the past. And I also made a phone call to Jim Nugent, city attorney. There's Andy Nelson now. And just to double check to make sure that nothing had changed in the city with our ability to work with Andy and the rest of the group. Jim Nugent, of course, his concern was, is there potential for damage? And I said nothing had happened in the past. We'd had a great relationship with them. And, as long as the material that is used to wrap them is not damaging, that it's put up with care and removed with care, that we should not have any issues as far as the city and the protection of the artwork. So Andy, welcome. I gave a little bit of an overview. We're happy that you could join us, but perhaps you could unmute, thank you, and talk to the committee a little bit more about a day without art.
Yeah, wonderful. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Kathy. I'm happy to be here. Sorry I hopped on so late. Devin and I thought this was tomorrow at 4, but got here. So I'm happy to talk all about it. Thank you for
Glad you're here.
Time aside. So Day Without Art. First of all, my name is Andy Nelson. I'm the executive director at the Western Montana LGBTQ Community Center here in downtown Missoula, right here on Higgins. And what Day Without Art is, it's an international day that's commemorated once a year during World AIDS Day or World AIDS Day Week, which is always on December 1st. And so we're gonna turn this into a 3-day event, starting on World AIDS Day, which is a Wednesday. And our plan is to shroud the public art pieces that day. Thursday, we'll be screening a film on campus at the university, which is specific to this kind of international event. And then Friday, we're gonna have a First Friday show here at the center, showcasing some kind of historic and archival documents and images specific to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. So what we'd like to do as far as shrouding the art pieces, I think Kathy's told you a little bit, but there's a few pieces in downtown Missoula that we'd love to shroud with bed sheets. And this is something places all over the country will be doing as well. And then we'll be tying them with twine on the bottom. So like Kathy mentioned, there shouldn't be any risk to any damage. They'll just be tied. It won't be taped, anything like that. And then next to the art pieces, we will have little stands. They just actually got delivered today. I ordered online, but little stands with information we're going to put in them about Day Without Art, why we're doing this, and basically we're bringing awareness to this epidemic, which happens to be 40 years. Patient zero was diagnosed in 1981. So this is the 40th year. So anyway, that's the premise of the
Andy,
project.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are the stands? What are they? Because one of the things we would have to worry about, not worry, one of the things we would have to think of is the potential for those stands with the information blowing out into traffic, et cetera.
Mhm.
So obviously health, safety, and welfare aspect. And so can you show us the stands or tell us what they are?
Yeah, totally. I haven't even taken them out of the box. So
Oh, are they
well, I'll be
plastic?
the first to know.
Oh,
So it looks like,
are they stand-up frames or how do they attach to things?
well, these are totally not put together, but what it is, it's like a, I believe it's like this big. The frame is
Mhm.
about this big, and then it's on a pole, and then the base of it is weighted. So it should be able to stand alone. I guess there is potential to be tipped over, but I don't foresee it like blowing around if that's the case. I'd have to
Well,
put it together to get the best
Yeah.
idea. But
If the committee approves this, we'd have to figure out a way to weight them down with, it used to be that the city required on A-frame sandwich boards, bags of sand.
Okay.
There's a way to stick them in the ground. In the 3 locations we heard that you had initially put in your proposal was crossings, returning, and catting around.
mhm.
Catting around might, with that stand, it might be difficult simply because it fills the complete bulb out where it's located. So I frankly don't know that there would be a place for a stand there.
Okay.
That's just my thought, and you all, everybody on the committee has seen catting around too. So if I'm missing something there, help me out. But I don't see how a stand could help that location, or where, not that could help it, but could work in that location, because we could not put it on the sidewalk, public right of way. Returning is down by the river, obviously, and on ground. So the stand could be put there and maybe pounded into the ground, or with a bag of sand on top of it. And crossings, there is room there, I believe, to put something. So,
Okay.
which
And
are the red X's.
Sure. If the stands don't work the best for, a specific location, we do have a couple sandwich boards here that we could use as well,
Mhm.
and find bags of sand to weight them down.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not, I think there's a way to solve it. I'm just worried about a stand by catting around. I just don't think there's room there.
Okay. We could also just like pin the poster to the sheet. if
No, that could work. Mhm. The first thing does anyone have any suggestions or questions or comments about the project?
I have a conceptual one. Maybe I missed this, but can you describe the connection between shrouding artwork and raising awareness for AIDS?
Yeah, you bet. So HIV/AIDS has disproportionately affected the LGBTQ plus community, and that's why the center is kind of spearheading this project. But even within that, HIV/AIDS has disproportionately affected the artist community, whether that be stage actors on Broadway, or painters, or film
Musicians.
It's just really hit artists particularly hard as well. So
Thank you.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, yeah.
And in the past, and full disclosure, I think some of you know I'm on the board of Open Aid Alliance, and we're doing some things for World AIDS Day as well. And not this year. I don't know how they're involved with your work this year, but in the past, they have worked with the center or with folks on this whole idea, but you did it on your own this year.
Yeah, so I actually just talked to Krista, and
Oh.
she's going to plan on being on our panel for the film.
Mhm.
Hopefully, her and maybe David and Chance. So I'd like to have them all over there, and we're going to have tables set up in the front too for resources at the University Theater. So hoping Nate will be there.
Also, I don't know, we don't really have kind of an order of operations, but Brianne, thinking about the opportunity for, to kind of cross promote through our, social media, hopefully we can flag that and get it in the calendar. It'd be nice to, if we do approve as a committee, feature that, on our Facebook page, etc.
Yeah, that's great, Stony. We did talk about that as a possibility if the committee decided that this was an appropriate thing to do again this year. So, does anyone have any other questions or comments? We're talking about a day without art and working with the LGBTQ community center downtown to, I don't want to say celebrate World AIDS Day, but bring
Commemorate, that's the word I
to
want.
commemorate. Yeah, thanks, Andy. Commemorate World AIDS Day. And it's been an international program. Didn't take place last year, as far as I know, but we've participated as a public art committee in the past. And they have shrouded or wrapped what in the past it was just crossings without damage to any of the artwork. I did talk to Jim Nugent about it, Muerta, and he has said if there's, he doesn't see any issue with it. But working with them again this year on perhaps a couple of pieces. And we lost her. So anyone else have comments? There you are.
I think that's great. I'm fully supportive of it.
Great. Well, I would at this point call for the question and would ask for someone, if we so believe, to make a motion that we work with the community center on a day without art. Also, Andy, I should be around, and if you need help or if we need to have a committee member there, I'd be there. And if somebody else would like to be there, that'd be great. But a motion to actually work with the community center in a day without art and shrouding. And this is where, again, y'all, maybe two of the pieces, returning and crossing. And if it's okay with you, Andy, not doing, well, unless y'all think we should do catting around as well, and perhaps attaching a poster to the shroud. How does that sound? I'll let someone make the motion.
I think we should keep catting around in there because it's so such a central location.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
All right, I motion to approve Andy's proposal to commemorate World AIDS Day on, what day is it? Sorry,
December 1st.
December 1st.
And wrap, if I may make a friendly addition, Stony, and wrapping those specific pieces.
Yes.
And just clarify, well, there. So there's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Perfect. Any discussion? I would just like to ask one question. So they will be wrapped for 3 days, correct, Andy? Or just the World AIDS Day?
If you're okay with leaving them wrapped for 3 days, that would be so cool while we're doing all the other events. But if it's only feasible for 1 day, that's understandable. So whatever you decide.
Stony, I'm going to throw it back to you to, if you would like to amend your motion for all 3 days or just 1 day.
I amend it for all 3 days, December 1st through December 3rd. Does that make 3 days? Excellent.
Perfect.
Etc.
Perfect. So we have a motion and second. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Motion carried. Andy, let's stay in touch with Brianna and myself and we have helped coordinate all of that. And very cool.
This is a little off topic, but will the Arc de Triomphe still be shrouded on December 1 in Paris? Do you know?
Oh,
I
Good
think it
question.
will be, actually. The Cristo,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was, well, maybe, I don't know. I thought it was going to be through January, but I am not sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know the end date.
Andy, I was looking at our city council schedule because I think in the past, the mayor might have done a proclamation. I don't know if that's something that you'd be interested in, but before I even suggested, I should have checked to make sure that we have a meeting on the Monday prior to December 1st. So maybe I'll send you an email if that's something that you'd be interested in, just to further elevate the importance of that day.
Yeah,
You know-
I would be very interested. Yeah, thank you, Martha. That would be wonderful.
Marta, that's the fifth Monday. Does the council meet on the fifth Monday? Because it's the 29th.
We usually don't, but we're not meeting next Monday. So I'm
Oh,
not sure if we're not meeting 2 Mondays in a row or if we swapped it or what.
cool. Well, I think that'd be exciting. I think that'd be a great thing for you guys to do, Andy.
Very cool.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I left my email and phone number in the chat. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, welcome to do that anytime. And if that's all, thank you so much for your support and collaboration. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to
Yeah,
be.
it'll be a great thing. Thanks, Andy.
All right. Have a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks all. Let's move on to budget. In the continuing saga, Brianna and I trying to work with getting together with finance. Nothing has changed. We have spent no more money, but we're still trying to get them to put something together similar to what I handed out last meeting, i.e. income and expenses per project. So hopefully by the next meeting, we will have that. So next on our agenda is rebranding. We've talked about that, new logos, doing more things. Stoney, do you want to update the committee on your thoughts again? And I guess what after that, I'm thinking it might be wise if we put together a subcommittee and to keep this moving forward. Because committee seems to be very interested in doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I brought it forward. I kicked the ball forward just because this has been a long-standing conversation, and with kind of the multiple things we have happening, that it makes sense to continue this conversation. I'm not in a position to chair a subcommittee for it. I'm happy to participate in it. I'm really interested in us moving that forward. But as far as like scheduling on the emails, I kind of have, I feel committed to Pack Live, and that'll be really the project that I can commit to seeing forward in a good way. But if there's somebody else who wants to take the reins, I'm happy to play backup and participate in meetings that are scheduled, etc. But I definitely think we should have a conversation as a group about it.
And I don't mind, again, it's something that pre-me, we've been talking about for quite a while. And maybe what the best thing to do is we could schedule a subcommittee, anybody who's interested in talking about it. And maybe next Tuesday, which would be the Tuesday before, or maybe the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and just kind of talk about it as a group, anybody who wanted to come and look at what rebranding might mean, even, from new logo to other types of marketing opportunities. Stony?
Think about it. It's like one of the things that seems important is getting clear on the budget, like what kind of parameters. I mean, I think in my mind, it makes sense to probably bring in somebody to help us with this, having kind of a DIY. Let's make it work as a committee. But bringing in somebody means we're paying somebody, and so that's our budget for this effort. And so I kind of feel like before a subcommittee can even move forward, or we can begin to get bids from people, I don't know. I mean, maybe we get bids first and then build a budget around that. And maybe that's a conversation the subcommittee can have, but it seems like kind of a bigger group committee conversation.
We, again, Brianna, we could try again to meet with finance to narrow down which portions of our budget are administrative, which they're trying to clarify the administrative versus maintenance versus project and separate those monies for us. We could put it off for another month, or we could try and figure out how much monies are actually in administrative, and get that final number from finance. I think, I don't want to say it's a chicken or the egg, but I think the subcommittee could meet and say, this is what we're looking at, this is what we want. And possibly we could, in 2 to 3 weeks, we could find out, or definitely by hook or by crook by the next meeting, and then have a subcommittee meeting right after that. Then we're going to get into Christmas and that holiday season. And we have in the past canceled the public art meeting sometimes, not always, in that month of December. So what are your thoughts there? Get the definitive answer from finance and then have some folks meet?
I mean, I tend to like to know what the parameters are, because the budget can range so dramatically. Like, are we asking somebody just to read? I mean, if we know, okay, we have $500, then maybe we can get a new logo out of it. If we have more money than that, I think that I think that while we'll want to get the best bid, it does make sense to at least have a range that we're willing to commit to as we go out and communicate with.
Exactly. And do we want to do more than that? Why? Then maybe what I'll suggest is, by hook or by crook, we'll get that number by our next meeting. Then have the subcommittee get together, anybody who is interested, put together a proposal of what we would like to see as new logo, social media campaign, marketing campaign, radio, television, print, however we want to do it. And go from there, maybe right after the first of the year.
So is there anybody here who loves this kind of thing and wants to take it on?
Well, it is one of my other lives, so I'm happy to work on it, but I have to see other committee members as well working on it. Committee of two, Stony.
I'm happy to help whenever I can. I just can't commit to being very responsible.
and lots of committee meetings, and again, I think, I don't know that we necessarily have to, even like Zoom meetings, quick Zoom meetings, 15, 20-minute meetings here or there, or
or if you need someone to bounce ideas off of, I'm happy to help too.
Okay. Well, let's get that final number for our next meeting, and everybody can think about if there's ways they can participate. And again, everybody's input is always invited on every subcommittee. So
yeah, once the new year gets here, Kathy, I at least I'm an undying optimist and generally think my time frees up somewhere in the future. I think it's an illusion. But the current illusion is the new year. So perhaps my bandwidth frees up a little bit to
Yep, cool.
make calls around and stuff.
Perfect. Street art projects, James. You want to recap our meeting?
I guess I could summarize a little bit. Kathy and Deborah were in attendance. Ben and a few members from his office were also in attendance. And, the proposal to the Public Art Committee was pretty informative. And beyond that, our meeting did not really resolve a whole lot more, although we got some updates from neighbors who have built renewed interest in getting their circles worked in and having art placed in them. And we kind of learned a lot about comparable programs like the traffic signal box and discussed ways in which they also have differences, such as site location and neighboring parties. So what I can say, Kathy, is that in our neighborhood meetings, in particular the Lewis and Clark neighborhood that I sit with, some of the neighbors who have received recent installations of traffic circles are interested and curious and wanting to be engaged. So I guess they're just kind of waiting on an update from the development of the program. And I don't really have a whole lot of new news about that, of artist selection, neighborhood engagement, and the works. I guess there's still kind of a lot to hash out.
I think we had a good meeting. The discussion, and again, James, help me if I forget something, but the discussions ran from guiding the neighborhoods with having the paints available for them to do their own designs and take care of everything related to that traffic circle, to putting out a somewhat comparable, if you will, art call to artists, like very similar to the signal box art call, and awarding a decent amount of money that the artist would then be able to either A, do on their own, or B, work with the neighborhoods on creating an implementation of the design. And it's nothing to finish up, but some really good conversations. I mean, they're definitely, like you were saying, the Lewis and Clark neighborhood, there were people who seemed to be ready to take it on and move forward. When in talking with Ben, it seemed like it might be good to just start with one or two here, James, and maybe start with Lewis and Clark, start with one or two locations for this coming summer timeframe, and do kind of a test run, if you will. Am I missing it? That's one of the ways I think we ended up the meeting, right, James?
I think so. I think there's, I believe that's right, that there's a couple different avenues in which the circles can get, and the neighborhood locations can sort of get activated. And, drawing on one thing Ben was talking about as well is the kind of model that they were using from the New York City boroughs, and the way they had compiled artists' proposals and could essentially just select artists and have a pretty productive and relatively fast turnaround rate of deploying art if the funding is available, and the artists are in alignment and ready to paint. So
Talked about, again, helping raise the monies for those projects.
yes, and also paint contributions and other things that may increase the amount of stipend or help artists along the way in developing it.
The example they gave us of an artist, and you all heard it last month about an artist would get paid 20% of the cost, total project cost. I thought was unique. That's what Ben's friend in New Jersey or New York, I think that's how they got paid. I, of course, was promoting more money for artists, as something comparable to the Signal Box project or more, particularly because I think it might take more time for an artist to even complete a project like this. So those were the kind of discussions that we were discussing. And I think another meeting is in order. I don't know when. Have you talked to Ben, James?
I have not heard from Ben or Madsen.
Or Madsen? Okay.
Yes, I have not. So I need to connect with them again and see what they're thinking. I think it is important to look at the budgeting and not the budgeting, but the stipend amount and and particularly the coordination and because I think in total there was about $2,600 per circle considered for, but materials are quite materials can be a big factor with these kinds of projects, depending on how it's deployed and the proposed work. So it'll be interesting to figure out.
Yeah, I was gonna say another plus is Ben has been talking with Public Works and others, and as far as, I mean, y'all know with the Signal Box was when we do that, we have to have appropriate signage and appropriate protection and sidewalk clothes and all of this. So he's been keeping on top of all of that with Public Works too, and with the street department. So, which takes a lot. So, I thought there were some really good conversations. Deborah, do you have anything to add about that meeting that we're missing?
That was pretty much my recollection. We were all pretty much united on the idea of just diving in at some point and doing sort of a test run on a project.
I think again, another great collaborative project that between the neighborhoods, the city, and we are the city, but the Public Works and the Transportation Department and us. So I still think it can be a very cool project. So we'll keep everybody posted. Thank you, James, for chairing that. Traffic signal boxes. Nothing new here other than the art there for Grant Creek. Art call will be going out in the spring and you will all approve that. It'll be pretty similar to the previous art calls. And although we're considering flat proposals versus box proposals for examples of the work, we'll see how that goes. But nothing really new on that end. Next item agenda, cultural treasures. I'm going to hold this up. This is the statewide book. I don't know if you've all seen this. I think you probably have. It's, gosh, Ben, I don't know how many years this has been in existence, but the committee has always purchased advertising and informative space in the publication. And so they're getting ready for the 2022 publication. And to get an expanded listing, which essentially gives us a description of the committee, names, phone numbers, websites, email addresses. It's just a more complete listing of who you are. it costs, so this year it is $105 to be included in the publication. And so I have told, the Missoulian does this actually, and this is distributed statewide. So I did say that I would bring it to the committee to approve the $105 for our expanded listing notification in the cultural treasures. I do know that we, and you all saw the budget that we did have, which was close to 20,000, that we do have enough money in the administrative budget to cover that if you also deem that it's appropriate. So are you all, have you all seen this around town and around the state? Any comments?
I've never seen it, but I would like to. Is it something that's in those stands with pamphlets about what's going on locally?
In the stands, it's at the air, you know, all those where they distribute the major brochures around the country, the airport, the Chamber of Commerce, the downtown convention, CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureaus. The galleries have it, the museums have it. And then, of course, advertisers, the people that have actually paid for advertising have it. But again, it is a statewide publication. How does everybody feel about that?
Pretty inexpensive way to promote the brand.
What was the cost again, Kathy?
It's $105. They have a basic listing, which just is your name for $50, but the committee has always gone for the expanded listing, because that way we can put all of our contact information, what we do, etc. And like a couple sentences of history.
So you're looking for a motion.
Yes. I'm looking for a motion to spend $105 on the advertising or the expanded listing, which I guess is marketing and advertising in Cultural Treasures, the statewide publication.
And sorry, excuse me. What's the deadline with that one again?
December 3rd is the deadline. Publication is March of 2022. Thanks.
So in order,
Tony, this would be really good for you as well.
what, open air? What are you saying? Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good thought. So when do you have to get the materials to them, Kathy? I'm just thinking about if we did do rebranding.
Well, if we don't, with our expanded listing, I'm just opening a page to Helena. It's no logos, but it does give you your basic name and who you are.
Okay.
So it's more information versus not new logo. If we were going to buy an ad in here, then I think we would obviously want to wait or like start working on it. But I think for the expanded listing, it's just verbiage.
Okay, great, thanks. Deborah, were you going to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion. Let me spend $105 to get an expanded listing.
Perfect. Give a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, anybody can second. Any discussion? So it has been moved and seconded that we purchase the expanded listing in Montana's Cultural Treasures for the 2022 calendar year at $105. All in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? It's unanimous. These are, yeah, if you see this, I mean, truly, they're everywhere. They might, the Missoulian does continually disseminate them, but they typically are available at all those, the galleries, museums, and those visitor kind of center locations that we have. Okie dokie. Danny, You're up next with the Indigenous Mural Project. Are there any updates?
No updates on my end. I think I might try to check in with Lisa and kind of see if she has any updates, because I know she was kind of the lead on this before she left the committee. So yeah,
Okay.
I will do that, and I will hopefully have something by next month.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know if Linda McCarthy at the Downtown Association is still working on it. So she might have some information too. So, cool. Sorry, Downtown Partnership. Okay, Mr. Lippert, you are up with Dash and Mike Lustig.
Yeah, we had a meeting with the library board it was Wednesday, the 27th, and made our proposal to the library board with Mike Lustig. And he made an excellent proposal. It was virtual as well as in attendance. And Kathy and I were in attendance, and he made a virtual presentation to them. And they don't have to put up any money or anything for the project, and it's totally funded. And so they approved the project within the proposed areas, which was as you walk in to the library, it would be kind of right in front of you, but then the stairway goes up, so it'd be underneath the stairway, which goes down to the parking, but there's a big wall there. And then it kind of continues on up underneath the stairway there. But this was the location that they approved where the sculptures would be mounted. And so he is working on that now. And I did get an update today. He's got one of the big, they're hexagon shaped sculptures that have reflective glass and steel and whatnot that all kind of focuses upon a particular area. And so he's working on that right now. And so I did send out an update on that, and I can send that out to the committee as to what I was received. And so that's in the works, and that's going. And so that's going to be a great project. And it was really good to kind of partnership with the art committee, with the library board, as well as with the DASH organization. And so that's kind of a national organization. And I thought that would be good for Missoula artists for exposure on the national level as well. And so if we could, partnership with the DASH organization and just with the art community and with the library. And so that's going, and looking forward to see how it comes out.
So everyone, I think I had Brianne email. We actually put together a multi-part presentation. I put together, actually, this is Mike's presentation, and these are the 6-sided light objects. And he gave this proposal as an idea of how the size of the hexagons that he could make. The library preferred the smaller hexagons to the left because of how that would reflect imagery and the people that are going to stairs and the surrounding area and those types of things. The next, hey, Brianne, could you move it? There you go. So this is kind of his thought process of how he would integrate these pieces on that wall. Was also toying with possibly bringing that design up on the ceiling. And so it kind of crawls up the wall and plays a little bit more with the light and the activity that's happening there. That ladder might not be a possibility just because of how the steps are constructed and et cetera in that upper wall there. And then the next slide gives you an idea. I think there's another one, is there not, Bree? Or is it just that?
These are the 3 that I have.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is there a way to bring up that shape that he put in the email that, and it was pink, that Dennis had, that he had sent to Dennis? These, you know, these 6-sided shapes are concave. So those mirrored panels kind of, even though they look flat in this imagery, they're concave. So they do actually create more of a movement and more of a kind of interesting light and image package there. But, you know, what was really exciting is the library unanimously voted to collaborate with us on this. And again, you know, Dennis mentioned it, but it seems like this work is the perfect location for that space, that Mike's work is a perfect for the library, considering the architecture. Here we go. Oh, thanks, Bree. So those are the shapes. And obviously this is a pretty large one, but you can see that concave nature of the shape. So the pieces, and Dennis, help me here, they were going to be about 12, maybe 10 to 12 inches wide on the actual piece. But then those would be arranged in those patterns that you saw in the previous slide. And they will be glass. They're not going to be a poly or a plastic based substrate or substance. So they're gonna have a clearer reflection. And he's very excited, and he's working on putting together some more examples for us as well. I think, you know, he would like to finish this by the end of the year. If for some reason he can't, we will need to write to Dash and just ask for an extension, which they, according to him, they've already approved. We just need to do the writing. And then in addition to all of this imagery that you received, I put together an overview of Dash for the library board, so they would know really where this funding was coming from and how we ended up with it in Missoula, Montana. So
Kathy, our attendee Diane has raised her hand. Is it okay if she makes a comment?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to ask about that project you're just looking at. If I'm hearing right, it's a reflective project.
Yes,
Is that right?
Project. All those pieces are glass.
Okay. The only concern, it's really a cool looking project and I like it. The only concern I'd raise is having it on a stairwell. As somebody who has a seizure disorder and a migraine disorder, lots of reflections like that can be really hazardous. So you might want to check with some professionals as to whether or not placing something like that in a stairwell. I mean, I can deal with it because I know my triggers and stuff, but before placing a public art project like that, you might want to check with somebody and make sure that it's not a trigger for other people or it's not a known hazard for somebody.
Absolutely.
Just to cover your bases.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. No one, I mean, seriously, no one has raised that. So we will most definitely look at that.
Okay, thanks.
No, I appreciate that. Brianne, can you write that down? And Dennis, let's talk to Mike about that and, you know, the library.
Okay, yeah, I am in touch with the city on that, and they said there would be no problem with that whatsoever at this point in time, but we can check further.
Well, I'm more concerned about, as Diane said, it triggering if there is a visual aspect of that, that it can negatively impact and cause seizures or anything like that. So not so much as how far it's sticking out, but just those things that Diane just spoke of. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Diane. We will follow up with that. It's an excellent point. Anyone have comments on the piece at this point? It's, again, great to have Dash supportive of Missoula and public art. The next thing, we kept it on the agenda just because someday we're going to get those boxes of Joan Junkels, and we'll be going through them. So I just want to keep everybody apprised that we are trying, sometimes we, looking back at our history, it isn't all there. So hopefully this will add to some of that history, because Joan was on the committee forever. So we'll keep that on the agenda and keep you appraised as soon as we receive those 2 or 3 boxes of Public Art Committee history. Rattlesnake Neighborhood Sound Wall. There's nothing new there. The Lower Rattlesnake Neighborhood Group, the group we've been working with, they're still trying to reach out to the community members to get their thoughts on that. But nothing new at that point, and no meetings that I've attended. Though I was going to throw out, and this is kind of associated with that, I have put out a feeler to some of those people to help with the cleaning of the sound wall at the roundabout every spring. So a little associated with that. Processes and procedures. Again, just a reminder, if committee members who are chairs could start jotting down some of the processes, procedures that they go through on their specific projects. Stone on you for a second, if I can. If for PAC Live, you could put together kind of a just process procedure on selecting the artists, simple steps, so that if any of us ever go away, that whoever replaces us, and that we'll have those kind of things outlined, and so that the projects can continue.
Might I inquire about our process and procedure to collect processes and procedures?
Oh, well, that's what we've been talking about the last, it's been on the agenda for the last meetings. We don't have everything outlined. Like we have the signal box process and procedure outlined. We had a small project when we did the rattlesnake.
Kathy, can I interrupt you? Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
The question actually was about collection of the data, not our warehouse of data.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and what I might propose is putting together like a jot form, or some other way of like collecting data, so you could like structure what you want to know, and then send that out to the chair people, and then they could just plug in that.
Okay, good idea.
So it's kind of centralized for whoever our admin person is.
Sounds good. We can do that. Bree, can you work with me on that? Are you there?
Yep, I'm still here. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. And again, we can use a couple of those others and just leave blank, like, because they're going to be similar as far as outreach and decision-making process and those kind of things. So we can use the existing process and procedures that we have and kind of create the form. So, great. Gosh, I am moving it along quickly. We're down to idea generation time.
Excuse me, it's me again. Can I insert? I had made a request earlier, and I apologize. I didn't look at the agenda before jumping on to this call, but had made the request that PAC Live was in there.
Yeah.
Just
Did I
because
miss-
it is something we're actively doing. And so I don't have much, but is it okay if I insert just a couple of pieces about that right now?
You know, it is, and we won't be able to vote on anything, but we know you're working on it,
I
and
don't need to vote.
apologize. I think maybe the agenda was finalized before we got back to you or whatever. So
It's no problem. I just wanted to basically, the main thing I want to know is I'm going to gather a subcommittee together the second week of December. I want to know who wants to be invited to that. Tiana, I have you on my radar, and I have Greg. Greg and I met and chatted with the media arts department. They're super stoked to work together. We're probably going to feature them in May. I think it'd be nice to kind of feature different groups when it makes sense to, as far as PAC Live goes, just because there's so many different performance-based groups around Missoula. But does anybody else want to be invited to it? Not that you have to do more stuff, but is anybody excited about it and wants to make sure to get an email in case they can?
I need to get all the emails from all the chairs, so if you can, I may not participate.
I will see you on it, Kathy.
Thanks. So, and of course, if you can CC Brianna on all of it too. She doesn't necessarily need to be there, but that way she can keep records of it.
And I have her, she and I have already been in communication, and I have her joining for that one because part of our efforts will be to review the call for it, as well as discussing it.
Right. We just, again, I need to watch her time frame on that. So, and all the hours she spends on projects. So that's why.
Well, so this is specifically to listing things on submittable, and that's not something I have jurisdiction of as far as the committee goes. So I'll need her time for that unless you want to propose an alternate solution.
No, I think that works. I just need to keep track of her time as chair.
Great. Okay, that's all I got.
Cool. Does anybody see, back to idea generation too, has anybody seen anything out there that they think that this committee could participate in? Everybody's looking away. I was going to throw out one thing, not that we have to do it, but maybe something to think about. And James, I think you probably know more about what's going on here, but in the summer, if Sunday Streets Missoula occurs again, maybe some ways on how we might participate in that, just to keep it on our radar on possibilities. We used to do the chalk art in the street, and from time we had hired artists to work with people, I mean, so many communities do the chalk art thing. We just let people draw on Higgins. And then had some artists working with them. So just throwing that out as a radar is another way to participate in the community. And so, are you kept pretty much aware of that, James?
Well, I assume that it's going to be back at Higgins Bridge, or Bear Tracks Bridge.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay.
And
Bear Tracks, yeah.
yeah, and the additionally, the plaza has been rebuilt in front of the Pinwell. So there is, and I've gotten a little bit of wind of people interest in putting interesting public seating in that plaza, looking for grant funding. I think there's a lot of opportunity for yeah, reinvigorating
Mhm,
the new location. I think it's going to be a great Sunday street,
mhm.
and all the participants would be really happy to be back. I can imagine.
Cool. And this is, I mean, old idea, but I just was gonna throw this out. It's not on the agenda, but the Public Art Guide, the Missoulian does, as far as I know, want to do it again, which will be our 16th year publication. We've had a request from a couple businesses that we feature their murals this year, but if anybody sees anything out there that we need to not forget, let's keep that on our radar too. So, any announcements? Does anybody know of anything? First Friday's coming up, of course. There's a lot of events downtown and throughout the community now, starting in late November, early December. So if anybody hears of anything and wants to share it, please let us know.
When will we decide if we are meeting in December?
We can talk about that now. How does everybody feel about meeting in December? It is going to be, I mean, generally, more often than not, we do. It will be the 21st. We can leave it on the calendar. Do people know if they're going to be in town or around on the 21st? Does anybody have any issues with meeting on the 21st?
Can we have a Christmas party?
We could have a Christmas party, but
Can we cancel the meeting and then have a Christmas party?
we can cancel the meeting, yes. And have a gathering that would not be the Public Art Committee. Again, you guys, this is my quandary always. We could cancel the meeting. It can't be and Moira to help me with this one. I mean, we cannot meet in person officially as the Public Art Committee. I am
Unfortunately.
I am so hoping that will end with the new year.
We could come in costumes.
How does everyone feel about canceling the December meeting? And you can unmute yourselves and talk. Why don't I send out will Brianne send out a meeting and everyone can check their schedules to see if that Tuesday does or does not work. Stoney?
I don't mean to belabor a point, but I think that it bears giving voice to the fact that it's challenging to meet as a committee online all year long for years on end and feel connected to one another as humans. And I haven't met most of you in person. I've met James because he's my neighbor. But I just think that I understand that agendas are important and rules and regulations are important. And I also think interpersonal relations are important, and it's hard to get business done if you don't have buy-in or kind of relations with one another. So anyways, I personally prefer using the holiday time to increase social connection versus reports on agenda items.
Muerta, what do you think?
I completely agree. However, this year's going to be a little bit trickier for me. I haven't seen my parents in almost 2.5 years because of the pandemic, and they are going to be here. So I don't know if I want to not hang out with them to go to a meeting or another party.
Do we have, do you think we would have approval? I think we can cancel our meeting. And Stony, we can work on an alternative.
And because we're a committee, then we're not going to get at cross purposes with those rules that other sorts of public entities have that, we can't really meet in secret.
Well, whenever you have a quorum of your committee, you have to open it to the public. And right now, the city's not
Open.
having public meetings. So we could have two groups of 4 or 5 people sit at different tables.
So to help me here, if someone had a party, could someone even if there were other people, could people not invite? And see, this is why I truly clarification. If James had a party and invited everyone here to a party, would that be considered a meeting?
For city council it is, I don't really know specifically for any of the committees.
Hmm.
I have to say that we have fudged a little bit, and city council did at least 9 of the 12 people met for a Christmas party. So, because how can you not?
Tell you what, I will clarify. We will cancel the meeting. I will clarify and we will let everybody know. Does that meet everyone's approval?
Yeah.
And I will do it ASAP. May I have a motion to cancel the meeting in December?
I'll motion to cancel the meeting in December. I'll
Do I
buy
have do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any more discussion? Sorry, I have to keep my Robert's rules correct. There being none, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? All right, we will not have a public art committee meeting in December. And I will be in touch with everyone. I will be in touch to maybe think about subcommittees too. So I do appreciate it. And I know sometimes you guys, if I truly am moving these meetings along too quickly, please let me know. I'm trying to give time for discussion, but I also know that everybody has things to do. And if there really isn't anything new to discuss, I move them forward. So if I'm moving too quickly, please let me know. So throw something at me, a shoe or whatever. Perfecto. Thanks all. I will be in touch with all. Thanks, Tony. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tiana. Thanks, James. Thanks, Deborah.